Hey, good morning, everybody. Yeah, it's late morning. It's about 11:20. Actually, it's 11:19 a.m. on this Thursday. Yes, I am off today, so I'm able to have enough time to talk about something like this, unlike yesterday, where the original video, which I did take off of my channel, got kept getting interrupted by streaming issues, connection issues, which I can only assume comes from the fact that there are other elements around, like other people using the phones, antennas, stuff like that. Might be weather related too. I don't know. It also doesn't help that my phone kind of started acting up yesterday as well, because it's like on the bus ride home, all of a sudden it just decided to go, that's it for a while. So I had to take the battery out and just let it cool off for a little bit. And surprisingly, after a while, I don't know what I did, because it still felt like it was not going to work right. Thankfully, thank God, thank the Lord above. It started working correctly. I think basically when it gets a little hot and everything, you got to turn it off, or at least just let it rest and cool off for a while. But yeah, I use that phone to basically do a live, like what I'm doing now, do a live discussion on this topic, and that is, you're going to get ship teases depending on who's writing. That's basically the be all end all of it. Um, Yesterday, despite the interruptions and stuff, streaming issues and all that, and I want to thank the real RENO for pointing that out to me. That maybe I should redo this, and that's what I'm doing. But anyway, getting back on topic, like I said, like the title says, you're going to get ship teases, depending on who's writing and all that, who's the head writer and stuff. You're going to get them no matter what. Um, Basically, what they are in a sense are like acknowledgments. We all assume and wonder if the writers even pay attention, if the creative staff behind a comic or a show hear us out, if they know, if they acknowledge that we want to see something, but we're not seeing it. We wonder, are they listening? And when it comes to moments like little ship teases here and there, I think it's pretty evident that even though they don't show it or come out and say, hey, pay attention to said episode or pay attention to said comic book issue, you'll see something that you're going to like. Even though they won't come out and say something like that, when they throw these little teases out there, when they throw these little ship teases out there, it to me, it's it's like the listening. It's like they hear us, and that is greatly appreciated. There is no doubt. It's greatly appreciated. Um, but when it comes to ship teases, being showcased in issues, comic book issues, episodes of television shows, animated, maybe even live action, movies, animated or live action. Like I said, even video games, if they have a story arc in there with cutscenes, and they do that, basically, basically the reason it gets done is it kind of gives us hope. It's like I said, it's like the writers, they know what we want to see. They know we want to see some kind of acknowledgement, maybe a tip of the hat to it or something. But nothing goes any further than that. A good primary example for me growing up in the 80s and the 90s would be Disney, and would be Disney afternoon shows like Rescue Rangers, and in the 90s you had shows like Sonic Sat AM, Sonic the Hedgehog, which that poster represents right there. Yeah, right there above the twilight, if you will. So yeah, it's sorry for that little move. Sorry for that little bump there. I was moving the computer a bit, but like I said, But like I said, it's mostly those right there are primary examples, I should say, that I had growing up. When it came to Chippendale's Rescue Rangers, it's like even though the internet wasn't a thing back then, it was still kind of very much in its primary heavily infancy because it was online, there was internet. It just wasn't accessible to people like us, like it is now. But again, like I said, there was internet. However, as I'm trying to say, it wasn't as big as what we got now. It didn't allow us to debate back and forth on message boards, social sites like YouTube. If you still look at YouTube as a social site, no offense there. If you still look at the YT as a social site, which it is still primarily. But anyway, getting back on topic, even though we didn't have that kind of medium in at our fingertips, you know a lot of fans, whether you were in school or whether you were in school or you played at the park or whatever, or you visited a friend, you slept over, you still were able to discuss the ship teases that you saw in Rescue Rangers. There were several. There's no doubt there were several. Um, Especially when it came to the question of who would Disney officially put Gadget with. Would they put Gadget with Chip? Would they put Gadget with Dale? And it seemed to me, maybe in my own opinion, that Disney seemed to ship Tease a lot in favoritism of Dale and Gadget. Sorry for the lag there, if there was one. But they seem to favor more in that direction. True, you got your ship teases with Gadget and Chip. Don't get me wrong. You had those. But there were moments, there were moments, if you will, that it seemed that they were favoring more towards Gadget and Dale than they were Chip and Gadget. Even though fans, I mean, even though fans then, throughout the '90s and today, and even in the 2000s, primarily felt that Chip was a better choice for Gadget because the one thing that Rescue Rangers did is they also teased the possibility that, in a sense, maybe it's just me, but I think in a sense, a show like Rescue Rangers set the table of you think we might go one way, but here we're going to throw a little curveball in there to show that we may go a different way. And there were several instances in Rescue Rangers that showcased this. In the earlier episodes that got shown on Disney Channel and then later on in syndication, they showed this with a character named Tammy towards Chip. Later on, towards the end of the series run, towards the end, I'm trying to say, of the series original run, before it went into reruns, into repeats, towards the end of its original run, they also teased Dale with a character named Foxglove, who was a bat. In the middle of that, they teased Gadget with a lab rat or a lab mouse in Sparky. So they went back and forth of throwing curveballs your way, making you think, okay, we might go this direction, but hey, we're going to throw this curveball to make you think, hey, we may go in a different direction. And you can't tell me that there weren't not, or what I'm trying to say is, sorry, you can't tell me that there weren't numerous times where fans like me thought that, because we did. We did. And like I said, it was kind of like you were throwing a curveball in our direction because you're making us think, oh, you're going to favor Dale going with Gadget because that seems to be the more heavily favored ship tease you want to, tease us with or showcase over Chip and Gadget. But now all of a sudden you're bringing in these other characters to kind of throw us off course. And I have to give them a lot of credit for that. I really do. So for someone like me, growing up in the '80s and the '90s, a show like that definitely set the standard or set the stage for what a ship tease could be like. Sonic Sat AM, like I said, with the poster that show, that the show that that poster is based off of, Sonic Sat AM was another good example. Even though we knew clearly right off the bat that characters like Sonic the Hedgehog and Sally Acorn were going to be together throughout the series, they were kind of basically on and off in the first season, and then you kind of slowly started to see that relationship build in the second season. Um, basically, basically, with Sonic with Sonic's at AM, they even threw in a few teases here and there, like like basically they thought, okay, we're going in one direction, but hey, we might throw you a curveball and going, and we might tease you by going in another direction. A good example of this, if one wants to know, is in season one. And in season one, they had a character named Griff. And what they did with Griff here is they teased him being infatuated, or at least flirting with Sally, basically kind of throwing you off the trail, if you will. Kind of throw you off the trail of, oh, Sonic and Sally are going to be together. They're pretty much showing us that's what's going to happen, and yet you're using this one episode to throw us off that trail to make us think something else. Sorry for the lag there, but make us think something else because you even have Sally tell Sonic that she's not his girl, and maybe that was out of anger and all that. But when you do that, you're basically trying to throw people off the trail. I mean, let's take a look at the episode. When Griff steals the Power Stone, which is supposed to supply the Power Ring for Sonic to use, when they pretty much put two and two together, you see and hear the disappointment in Sally, right? Like here's someone she probably could have had interest in romantically, and yet he was just using those feelings, those romantic feelings and all that, to get her to trust him, to get on her good side, so that when they would least expect it, he would get the Power Stone to help his people out. The point is, even though you may see, well, you may say, well, that's not much of a ship tease. That's just a character manipulating one of the lead characters to get what he wants. That might be true, but the point is, the point is, the writers, whoever wrote the episode, teased that shipping between Griff and Sally to throw you off the trail, throw you off the whole Sonic Sally uh, shipping that was inevitably going to happen. That's what they did. I mean, even let's take a look at Ultrasonic. You could say, well, how does that have ship tease in it? Well, it's real simple how it has ship tease. A lot of fans, even to this day, would prefer Sonic to be with Bunny Rabbit. But but according to the comics, well, originally under the Archie comic license, that would never be the case since Bunny was married to Antoine. But getting back on point here, back then, fans would rather see something like that. Because who did Sonic pair up with to change things up in Ultrasonic besides his Uncle Chuck? Who did he pair up with from a female perspective? Bunny Rabbit. You see, Uncle Chuck could have had Sonic go with Sally and Rhoda and had Antoine be with Bunny or had Rhoda be with Bunny, vice versa, right? No. Instead, they said, okay, we'll have Sally lead this group with Antoine and Rhoda, and thus we'll have Uncle Chuck lead a group with him, with Sonic and Bunny. And again, they could have chose any which way and direction to go with, right? And true, maybe there wasn't much. How do I put this? True, maybe there wasn't much ship teasing or anything in the eyes of many viewers, but to pair Bunny and Sonic up for that moment in Ultrasonic, was a huge deal. I mean, even the Sonic and Sally episode from season one teased it a little bit. When Bunny came to Sonic's aid, and then later Sonic thanked Bunny. People could say, "Oh, well, there's a tease of a potential shipping romantically between the two," and that might be the case. That might be true. But again, even though they have those little moments here and there, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. All they're doing, from a writing perspective, for the fans, is to kind of tease, hey, maybe fans want to see this, maybe fans might want to see that. Stuff like that in between. Even the comics, even the very successful comic books of Sonic the Hedgehog under the Archie lineup, teased at this many times with the characters. They teased it with, Sonic being with another character, like, say, a Fiona or an Amy Rose, which happened at the end of issue 207. Sally being with another character, like a Jeffrey St. John or a Monkey Khan. Heck, even for that time where, from a storyline perspective, an evil version of Antoine had switched with the real Antoine, thus breaking up the relationship between Bunny and Antoine, between the real Antoine and Bunny. You even shipped and teased Bunny being with Sonic. How? When Sonic came to her rescue from being assembled or simulated by this Atom creation of Robotniks or Eggmans, how did she reward him? She kissed him on the lips. So you had all these various teases here and there. Even Tails got it. Tails got it with a character named Barbary Koala. He got it with Fiona Fox, and he got it with another character called Little Moon. So you had these potential shippings, and even Amy Rose, I think, got thrown in there as well. But the point is, you had these constant shipping teases in the comic, and they were done because, depending on who the writer was, they knew fans might want to see that. Fans might want to see a possible shipping of Bunny and Sonic. They might want to see a Tails Little Moon kind of deal. The point is, they did it as an acknowledgement and a nod to the fans, knowing that fans might want to see that, as well as kind of a hint of, hey, this may happen, be prepared. Even shows on Cartoon Network that are very popular with fans right now, like Adventure Time and Steven Universe, have done this numerous times as well. You can't deny that. You cannot deny, even though I don't watch Adventure Time or Steven Universe, and people probably say I should, you can't deny that they don't do that, because they do. There have been many moments that even though I haven't watched the series, either one of them, there's probably been many moments that they have done this. And you can't deny that. Even the new Nickelodeon series has done this. Pretty much everybody from Andre Meadows, the Black Nerd, a Black Nerd Comedy, to several others are saying, well, Donatello April in the new series is pretty much canon. Maybe, but how canon is it when you still kind of when you kind of still do a ship tease of that universe's April of that universe's April being with that universe's Casey? I'm just saying. How truly canon and official is it when you're teasing still some kind of attraction and shipping between that universe's April and that universe's Casey Jones? I'm just saying. But still, you get that. I mean, heck, you tease and ship tease something between Leonardo and Karai in this universe, just like you did in the 2003 version, and yet you don't do nothing. You're doing it more so here because Karai is what, half mutant, half shape-shifting snake, if you will, where she can shapeshift to be human and shapeshift to be snake. You're pretty much now shipping it more so because of that, but you're not doing anything about it. You're ship teasing it more so because of that, but you're not doing anything about it. So, even with a series like that, they throw in these little moments here and there because they know fans have talked about it, especially now. They know fans want to see something like that. They want to see fans. They know fans have talked about it. They know fans want to see it. Sorry if I spaced out there for a second. I'm trying to think of what I was going to say next. But they do that with Leo and Leonardo and Karai. In this interpretation of Ninja Turtles, excuse me there, because they know fans want to see it. But yet, knowing that fans want to see it and knowing they're going to throw it out there for fans to see, and get hope and get all hopeful for, they don't follow up on it. You know what I'm saying? But again, it all depends on who's writing the episode or the comic or the issue of the comic book. They do it because they know it gets fans' hopes up. They know it's going to make fans want to see or more of this potential romance, and to the point that they'll keep tuning in every week to an episode or keep buying every issue of the comic because inevitably they're hoping the writers or whoever is in charge at the end of the day will make it official, will make it happen, and make it a true part of continuity. Probably the biggest example is My Little Pony nowadays. My Little Pony Friendship is Magic since episode one. Since episode one, it's pretty much done a lot of ship teases throughout this series. They've done a lot of shipping teases throughout this series. I'll give you a good example. From the very first episode, who did they start ship teasing almost to a chronological uh, chronological standpoint? Who did they ship tease? Spike and Rarity. That's what they did. From a chronological standpoint, they teased Spike and Rarity. And you can't tell me that Megan McCarthy doesn't know this. I mean, why even in the Equestria Girl spinoff would you have Human Rarity find Spike, who was transformed into a dog instead of a freaking teenage boy, about her age maybe, or a bit younger, maybe by a year or so, whatever. Why would you have her find him adorable and cute and have him fall in love with this Rarity just like he did the Pony Rarity? Unless you didn't know that and unless you knew fans wanted to see it. The point is, since day one, they've shipped it. They have. No matter who the writers or who the be all end all at the end of the day to make things happen, to make things official, they pretty much have teased it since day one or since episode one. So you can't tell me that MLP FIM has not done a lot of ship teasing with a couple like Spike and Rarity. They have. You can't tell me that they don't do ship teasing with, oh, I don't know, Flash Century and Twilight. You can't tell me they don't do that. Because here's what happens. Even in the series, besides the Equestria Girl spin-off movies, even in the series, you have Twilight walk right into Flash Century by accident. Why? Because the writers, whoever's writing the episode, is teasing something between them. That is why you always constantly have those moments. Why do you think in simple ways they had Tenderhoof, I think that's his name, or whatever his name is, I can't think of the guy. Tenderhoof's I think that other character. But why do you think in simple ways they had that stallion who Rarity became infatuated with, start complimenting and flirting with Applejack throughout the episode? And Applejack was blushing about it, becoming very, not embarrassed, but kind of shy about it. Because they were trying to tease you with a potential love interest for Applejack. And maybe in what direction they would go with that. I mean, the I mean, let's take a look at another shipping tease that they do. Rainbow Dash and Soren. MLP Silverquill even pointed this out in his Rarity Investigates review. He pointed it out in his own subtle way, that there was a moment upcoming in the early portion of that episode that would get the shippers of Soren and Rainbow Dasher cheering. And what was that? It was the scene where Rainbow Dash is telling Rarity that if Rarity wasn't there, she wouldn't know who she'd be talking to. Thus, in comes Soren. And he says, with Soren saying, "Oh, you'd be talking to me." And if that's not any indication of the writers knowing that fans want to see this, let's take a look a couple seasons back before that. Let's take a look at the ending of Canterlot Wedding at the end of season 2 in that photo montage. Who did they have Rainbow Dash somewhat dancing with? Soren. Let's go further back to that, to the end of season 1. Who was the first person, I think, in the Best Night Ever episode, who I think was the first pony they had her interact with besides what I can't even think of her name right now. Can't even think of her name right now. Sunburst, I think that's her name. Can't think. Hold on for a second. Let me check something. Oh, there it is. Hold on. Ugh. Sorry about that. Sorry, I just had to check something. Not Sunburst, but Spitfire. Who was one of the first ponies they had her interact with before or even during the time she was interacting with Spitfire? Soren. Who's the one that made her blush, I think, a little bit more in that episode? Soren. The point is, what I'm getting at is, depending on who the writers are, they will throw stuff in here like this. I mean, okay, who is the writer for Newbie Dash? I can't think of the name right now, but whoever wrote Newbie Dash, why did they have, when Rarity was impersonating her friends, trying to find maybe the right personality that would help her fit in better and get over the whole Newbie Crash nickname name that they gave her, who did she impersonate when talking with Soren in one scene? Rarity. And how did she do it? She did it the only way she knows Rarity would. She started complimentally flirting with him. Yeah, she started to flirt with him. She started to act very raritish. I know I think that's a new word, but very, very raritish around him by flirting with him. Thus, in a way, kind of making him a little uncomfortable, but doing it because that's how she would see Rarity probably do it, but also doing it because the writers were teasing the shipping between the two. That's why. Let's take a look at Pinkie Pride. You bring in the freaking male equivalent, voiced by Weird Al Yankovic, of Pinkie into the equation, and thus at the end of the episode, you're pretty much kind of almost teasing the fact that there could be something there. Even if it's not really shown much, you're pretty much teasing it. All right. And then what about Fluttershy and Discord? Pretty much a lot of fans say, well, Fluttershy and Discord are pretty much canon anyway. Not really, because we haven't got no official word. But why do you think we constantly see maybe some affection or attraction or acknowledgement between, when these two are around each other? Because the writers, whoever's writing this episode, or these writing the episode, put these moments in because they know the fans that have helped make the series what it is want to see it. They know the shippers who are part of that fandom, Adam, and made the show what it is, want to see it. Why do you think when the episode Scaremaster came out in season 5, we got towards the end of it, in that towards the end of it, and that climax at the end of the episode where they're being chased around and they don't know what's going on with the corn maze. Why do you even think before that moment, when they're walking through this little tunnel full of the fake eyeballs and all that, why do you think when the camera focused on two characters walking through that eyeball tunnel during the initial walkthrough of the corn maze, who was the camera focused on when that happened? Rarity, Spike. Who's the one that went back and helped Rarity? Spike. Who's the one that went up to Rarity when they heard the bear in that lizard or that monster costume or that creature of the Black Lagoon kind of like costume approaching them? Who was put next to each other in that moment? Rarity, Spike. Who? Who grabbed onto each other in fear at the edge of the cliff? Because literally they were scared witless or scared out of their senses. Who held on to each other? Spike and Rarity. Who was next to Rarity when she basically complimented Fluttershy for doing what she did, for making Nightmare Night that night one of the best? Spike. And she even looked at him. The point is, they will throw in these the point is, the writer, whoever it is, will throw in ship teases because they know fans want to see it. They know fans are going to want to see it. Even like I say, before the internet became what it is, I'm pretty sure they heard of word of mouth and through other ways, word of mouth, phone calls, faxes, whatever. They probably heard that fans want to see certain things. And that's why they would throw in these teases here and there. Even back then in the 80s and the 90s, they would probably hear through word of mouth what fans, kids, adults would want to see in the animated or live action episodes of the favorite animated or live action series or movies or mostly comic books. They would throw those in there because they know fans would want it, because through word of mouth and through other ways and through other methods, they would find out, oh, fans want to see this. Okay, we'll throw a little hint in there about that. We'll throw a little hint here and there. And that's what they would do, especially with comic books. Fans would write in or type in and type and mail in the letters and everything. And through the letters, either they would have the whole letter published at the end of an issue or just partial of it. But part of that letter that may not be published could be them explaining why they like a certain couple together and they want to see it. And then later on, maybe in said issue or a future issue, we see a tease of that. Same thing with cartoon shows, animated shows. You would have fans write in, compliment what they liked about it, but maybe part of that compliment, if you will, is them acknowledging, hey, I would like to see more of these two characters together, or this male and female character together, because I think they work good romantically. Nowadays, you got things like the internet here, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, YouTube, Dailymotion, VidMe, VO. You got all these new outlets out there, and fans can pretty much publicly, in front of the whole world, voice, or privately in front of between them and maybe whoever's behind the scenes there, behind the scenes of the favorite show or comic, can pretty much explain why they like a certain pairing or why they feel a certain pairing should occur. And again, the writing staff, the creative staff behind that said comics or behind said shows, they'll hear this and they'll be like, okay, we hear you. We'll give you a little bit of a tease in a future issue or episode. And that's what happens. Sometimes you'll get more than just that, like with Scaremaster. At the end of Scaremaster, you got more than that, even though they didn't pretty much come out and say, oh, Rarity and Spike are boyfriend, girlfriend. No, they pretty much teased it right then and there. Again, going back to Flash Century and Twilight, Why do you think they teased it? Even teased it romantically on the human portion of things? Because of the fact that they knew fans would like to see it. I mean, why do you think, according to one reviewer, one MLP reviewer, who posted a video recently talking about certain cutscenes, certain scenes being cut out of Slice of Life? According to what he said, one of the scenes was about Flash Sentry. Flash Sentry was supposed to show up in was supposed to show up in a cameo in a in a cameo in the episode, and during his cameo, a lot of the ponies would be rude to him or something like that, and he'd wonder why. And basically, it was the writer, I think M.A. Larson's answer of saying this is how a lot of fans felt about him, just suddenly becoming a love interest out of nowhere for Twilight on the human side of things, and a little bit teased on the pony side of things. The point is, the point is, I know I sound repetitive here, but again, it all comes back to the fact that the writers, especially nowadays, whoever writes the issue of a comic book or whoever writes the story for an episode of an animated or live action series, if they hear fans want to see certain characters together romantically, they will come out they will come out and basically write in a moment or two or several to tease it. You know, why do you think when Secret of My Excess was written, it was pretty much a big old ship tease episode for Rarity and Spike? Because the writers, Lauren Faust, M.A. Larson, whoever wrote the episode, pretty much knew fans were getting behind that since season one. Fans were intrigued by it and they wanted to see more of it, and that's why you got it. That's why throughout the seasons you had moments between them as a ship tease. Rarity holding Spike in her arms as they approach, I think, what, the Crystal Empire or something. You know, while she's, looking outside the window of the train they're on. You know, stuff like that. Why do you think she was complimentary about him wearing the apron in one episode, and the others were teasing him about that? I think that was the best night ever or something. I'm not really sure, but she was more complimentary. She was more encouraging because the writers, whoever they were or whoever it was, knew fans wanted to see that. That's the whole. That's basically what it all comes down to is whoever writes the issue or the episode for a series, and they hear, especially nowadays, that fans want to see certain characters together romantically. That's why you're going to get ship teases until eventually down the line they decide whether or not to keep teasing it and that's it, or they finally decide to make it official. And there have been plenty of examples, animated wise and comic book wise, to where ships have been teased romantically and they officially become reality or they officially become canon. You know, animated wise, when you look at something like X-Men Evolution, they teased and teased for like a season or two Jean Grey and Cyclops, Scott Summers being together, but they never went any further than that until the final season where they finally decide fans know they're going to get together, let's just make it happen, and that's what happened. The point is, when one looks at it, it's not good. When one looks at it, I know I sound repetitive and I do apologize. But again, it all depends. But when one looks at it, it's basically depending on whether or not whoever writes that issue of a comic, or whoever writes the episode or set episodes of a series, if they decide, all right, hey, let's give the fans a little bit of a ship tease of a pairing they want to see, then they're going to do it. No matter what. Whether you like it or you don't like it, they're going to do it. And I do apologize for that horn in the background. That's the noon whistle that goes off at noon. But like I said, it all depends on who's writing. The people that wrote episodes like what's the episode? One of my favorites, Double O Chipmunk. Do you think they did it because they wanted to write a story where Gadget tries to make Dale feel better by doing a spy game for him with the help of the others? Yes, but they also did it because they wanted to ship tease Gadget Dale. Why do you think they had Gadget paired up with Dale in Carpet Snaggers when they were flown on those carpets, when those in that moment on that scene where Dale and Gadget were caught up in those electric carpets being remotely taken back to the villain's hideout? Why do you think they did it there? Why do you think they had Dale be the one be with Gadget instead of Chip? Because they were shipping Dale and Gadget, especially in that moment where Dale caught Gadget, and she thanked him. It's all about ship teasing. Why do you think they had the whole Chip agree with Gadget on the let's be gentle kind of deal in one episode instead of be violent? Violent, and she gave him a kiss out of it, on the cheek about it. They were trying to ship Chip and Gadget. Why do you think they did the moment at the beginning of Cattery's Not Included? Because they were both shipping Dale and Gadget and Chip and Gadget. You get what I'm saying? The thing is, it all depends on who writes the episode at times. It all depends who decides. Because think about it. You could be a writer. Put yourself in the shoes of a writer, and you hear through word of mouth back then, fans want to see this and this, want to see these pairings together as a romantically. Well, I'll tease it a little bit in this episode or the upcoming episode. Do you not think they have to? Do you not think they sit at their desk and they start typing up how they're gonna put it in there? Aaron, do you not think they do that? Ed, of course they do. They do. They don't just say, "Okay, I'm just gonna put it right at the beginning," or "I'm gonna put it right here." No, they got to think about, okay, where are they gonna insert it, so at least fans will notice it and see it. They have to sit there and realize, okay, where am I gonna put it in the episode, or where am I gonna put it in the issue? So again, like I say, fans will see it and notice it. And that's brilliant on their part. That's brilliant. And again, like I said, nowadays, is through social media, they get it more so. We get it more so than ever because through social sites like Twitter and Facebook and Tumblr and all that and Instagram, they will hear more. They will hear about it more so than ever before. They will. I mean, let's take a look at Gauntlet of Fire. One thing Eliora said in her co-review with Bronny Buck is she noticed Rarity go to Twilight's castle, go to the Castle of Friendship with Spike after Spike was going through his moment, was just starting was going through the whole Dragon Call moment. She noted that Rarity didn't stop and bathe or clean up. She just came as she was. And the reason that happened, and Eliora kind of pointed this out, was because not only does Rarity care for Spike, which she always has, but it was done to tease the Spike Rarity shipping. That's what it was done for. I know this video is going too long, and I do apologize. I really do. But the point I'm getting at, folks, is, and again, I know I sound repetitive, but when you see certain characters, male and female, being teased together, or even nowadays, you start kind of slowly crossing that line into female and female, or male and male. The reason you get these moments is because the writers are acknowledging that you want to see it happen. So they're going to give you these teases here and there. Why do you think we got a moment like we did in Slice of Life with Lyra and Bon Bon, or Sweetie Drops, the way we did? Because fans have been wanting to see that. Why do you think we got the same thing? Why do you think we kind of got a cat dog moment in the Dreamscape world in that Luna episode of season 5, with Lyra and Bonbon being joined at the hip, being joined at the hip cat dog style, because that was a tease, an acknowledgement to the fact that fans want to see this pretty much be made official if it's not already is. Why do you think we had a moment at the end of season 4 during the song where you had Discord hand a bouquet of flowers to Celestia as in an act of forgiveness, in an act of saying, I'm sorry, here's something for you, or an act of kindness and forgiveness for what he did? Do you think that was the only reason? No, they did it. That moment was thrown in there. That moment was thrown in there to tease the Discord Celestia shipping that fans are behind as well. Overall, I know again I sound repetitive and I do apologize. But overall, when one looks at it, the ship teasing, the reason we get these ship teasings is it depends on who's assigned to write what issues for a comic book or what episodes for a series. Because whoever is chosen to do so, they will either decide, okay, I'm just going to write a regular episode, no romantic ties or teases or shipping, and that's it. But then again, they might decide, well, I've got plenty to work with here. I might throw in a ship tease here and there and go from there. So that's pretty much why you get it. It all depends on whether or not the writer wants to go in that direction or they don't. And sometimes a ship tease will always, like I say, open the doors in the eyes of the fans of whether or not they will go in that direction and finally make it official, or they will not go in that direction and decide just to leave it be and let you, as a fan, imagine what happens next. So that's pretty much why you get ship teases. In the end, that's pretty much why we get these ship teases in episodes, in comics, and all that. It's all depending on who's writing the episode, who's writing the issue of the comic, and where and how they want to place said issue or said ship tease in that episode or in that comic or even in that movie if it's put in a movie. Heck, I'll even throw this in. Visually, from a visual standpoint, like promotional wise, you'll even get a ship tease. I'm looking at the My Little Pony My Little Pony poster that I have right now, and when it shows the main six and Spike up front in front of the newer characters that are going to be in the movie. And who do they have Spike next to? And who do they have Spike next to in this poster? Not Twilight. They have her next. They have her next to Rarity. I mean, they have him. I should say. Sorry about that. They have him next to Rarity. And I know fans are going to say, well, they're going to tease shipping Rarity with this Kappa character in the movie. That might be true too, but again, that's all it's going to be, really, because unless they come out and say Kappa is going to be her boyfriend, and that's coming from the official sources, the people that wrote the movie and all that, behind the series, people behind the series and all that, then all it is ship tease. But again, you have Spike next to Rarity in this poster. You other promotional stuff, you either have him on one side of the logo, where he's next to Pinkie Pie and Applejack and all that. Some promotional stuff, you have him riding on top of Twilight. But on one of the main posters, I think the final poster to promote the movie, you have him next to Rarity. So you're pretty much, even through a promotional wise, teasing that. So there you go. And what's even crazier, you want to talk about ship teases, I don't even think we got this in the series. Really? Well, maybe we did, but it wasn't as strongly indicated. Fans, this was funny. You want to talk about wanting to see a pairing become a reality, or at least a ship tease of it. Fans want to ship Spike with Applejack. Is that crazy or what? Yeah, there are fans that want to see a ship tease or they want to ship Spike with Applejack. Why? Because what? A Spike at your service? What? Because of moments that Applejack kind of helped him out more so? I don't know. Why? Because of that one fantasy moment that Spike started dreaming about out in that first season episode where they were trying to go rescue Rarity from the Diamond Dogs, and he's fantasizing about being this knight in shining armor, and next thing you know, he's kissing the air, and he's almost close to kissing Applejack when he wakes up from that fantasy. Is that why? I don't know, but it shows you fans will want to see Spike with somebody. If it's not going to be Rarity, they pretty much figure, well, who's the next best choice? Oh, I know, Applejack. Why? I'm just saying. Did we get a ship tease of it? Did we get a ship tease of it in the comics? In the IDW comics? I don't know. But again, it shows you fans want to see certain shippings happen, or at least maybe acknowledged and teased. And I'm pretty sure whoever is here, whatever head writers have heard about that, as far as the animated show goes and the comic books go, I'm pretty sure we may or may not get that. So don't be surprised if we do or don't. But it all depends on who's writing. Whoever writes for an issue of the comic, if they say, you know what, if they decide one day to say, you know what, fans want to see Spike and Applejack together, or at least some kind of ship tease between them. I know, I'll put that moment. Let me see if I can find, here's a perfect moment. Nothing going on here. Here, let's write in a scene. Do. And there you go. Same thing with an episode. If whoever writes one of the episodes for next season decides, you know what, fans want to see Applejack with Spike. I know. Let me see what episode I got. Perfect. There's an opening here in the episode where I can put a scene in about that, or acknowledgement I can have a scene acknowledgement of that. Boom, there you go. The point is whoever writes the episode or the issue will throw something like that in if they feel fans want to see it enough. But again, it all goes back to the fact that whoever's writing the issues of a comic or the episodes of a series, if they notice fans want to see a certain pairing more so than any other, they're gonna tease it no matter what until whether or not it's made official or it isn't. So overall, that's all really I could say about it. I mean, again, like I said, it all depends on who's writing. It really is. It all depends on who's writing the issue for the comic and who's writing the episode for the series or even the movie or even the motion picture. If they want to throw a tease in there, they will. If they want to throw a tease in there, they will. And it's totally up to them. But the only reason we get it is, like I said, it's depending on who the writers are and the writers acknowledging the support that the fans have given to said show, comic, and franchise. Sorry for the lag there. But it's also the fact that they know fans want to see it visually. And they want to see at least a moment or two that acknowledges, that shipping. So that's really all I have to say on it. Thank you all for watching live. Thank you all for watching post live after this has been uploaded and shot live and recorded live. Thank you all for watching post live and thank you all for watching live. Really appreciate it. Let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. I'd like to hear from what you guys have to say. And I'll talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care. I'm out.